You're a f***ing moron. Okay? This
true.
is big news.
Yep.
These are allegations.
No,
It's
no,
just a
I'm
fact.
not. To be clear,
You are.
you're the re here.
Understand,
You're
now
the re
it's-
here. I'm asking.
Russia has this entire system in place for targeting f***ing diplomats across the country.
Sure, I could believe that, but that's not the
Okay?
interesting
And you're like-
part.
and you're
That's
like,
not the
"Show me
interesting
the
part.
ray gun."
The interesting
That
part is
is
the
the interesting
claim
part.
that it's a directed energy weapon that can be fired at range through walls and is portable. That's a really fascinating claim.
You're actually handled by f***ing Russia.
What? Say it.
What you just said, you. Please make me care. A black Mercedes crossover was parked just beyond the gate of her property, directly opposite her laundry room. Joy went outside, and that's when she saw the tall, thin man. She raised her phone to photograph him. It was like his eyes locked with me. Or it's like he locked eyes with me. He knew what I was doing. Then he got into the Mercedes and it drove off. Joy took a picture of the car and its license plate as it pulled away. She says she didn't see the man again until 3 years later when she was shown a photograph of Albert Averyanov, a Russian operative attached to Unit 29155, a notorious assassination and sabotage squad of the GRU, Moscow's military intelligence service. Albert is not an ordinary Russian spy. Aged only 23 when this encounter took place, he was the son of the founding commander of Unit 29155, General Andrei Averyanov, 56, who is now the powerful deputy director of the GRU, tasked with running the Kremlin's foreign policy in Africa. To the public, he was a fresh graduate of Moscow State University, where he had earned a master's in management of migration processes, a topic in which his father took a keen interest. Even within the nepotistic GRU, Albert's trajectory was unusually steep, a young cadet who was being groomed for a bright career in espionage. In 2019, only 20, he'd even interned in Geneva with the Residentura of Unit 29155, or 29155, disguising his visit to the international Swiss capital, as legions of other Russian intelligence officers have, as an English language learning trip. Such was Andrei's desire to see his son follow in his footsteps that the GRU had to ignore its own rules of recruitment, which mandate officers blend in with their surroundings. As a 6'2" young blonde, Albert was conspicuous in any crowd, let alone a tony suburb of Tbilisi. Oh, me. When Joy saw Albert's face 3 years later, she had a visceral reaction. I can absolutely say that this looks like the man that I saw in the street. Non-lethal acoustic weapons. A year-long investigation by The Insider, in collaboration with 60 Minutes and Der Spiegel, has uncovered evidence suggesting that unexplained anonymous health incidents, also known as Havana Syndrome, may have their origin in the use of directed energy weapons wielded by members of Unit 29155. Oh. Here's a question. I have a question. I swear to God, I haven't looked this up. So, you've got QAnon, you've got Epstein, you've got Ray Epps, you've got the pedophile rings, the Bohemian Grove, all the Western conspiracies that like the Tim Pools and everybody believe in, and the Glenn Greenwalds believe in. Do any of them believe in this one? Have they tweeted about this? Or is this all fake? Do any of them believe in this one? Have they tweeted about this? Or is this all fake? Tim denied this?
Yeah, this whole, like, people are calling it energy weapons usually. I've heard the one term acoustic weapons. This reeks of bullshit to me.
Well, I haven't even read a tenth of the article yet, so I can't really give an opinion on it. So.
Oh, okay, my bad. I thought you were through it more, but yeah, so if this is an energy weapon, so if it's using radio waves or microwaves, in order for it to produce enough energy to like actually injure you, it would have to have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So it would generate a lot of heat.
Mhm.
So yeah, if you have like a microwave aimed at you and it's strong enough to actually cause injury, you'd probably get like burns on your skin. Same with like radio waves. It could be anything on the electromagnetic spectrum. If it's actually strong enough to hurt you, it would probably burn, and it like you wouldn't be able to just use it through a building either. Like if it's actually powerful enough to go through a building and then like burn you, you'd know it's happening. And same with the like acoustic thing. Like if it's using some sort of like sound wave, again, like you'd hear it. It would like cause vibrations or something like that. So this just reeks of bullshit. If any of these people are actually getting targeted by Russian agents or something, in all likelihood, it's poisoning. And poisoning can actually have a lot of these symptoms, like hearing loss, hearing strange noises, tinnitus, and you know, obviously poisonings can cause brain damage too. So if I had to guess, if like any of this is real at all, these people are probably being poisoned. And on top of that, if Russia had some sort of weird secret energy weapon thing, like the U.S. would have known about it by now. This is going on for years.
Maybe, yeah. But I don't know. I have no idea. I have to finish reading it and find out. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Like, I'll let you finish reading, but basically all they have is just a bunch of like anecdotal claims from people who are just suffering from a bunch of issues, and they're not able to actually provide any evidence of, you know, a certain type of weapon being used. They just have like similar general symptoms going on.
Okay.
Well, but
yeah.
Yeah, I figured I'd just share my 2 cents on that.
Okay. All right.
All right. Take care, man.
Among this investigation's core findings is the fact that senior members of the unit received awards and political promotions for work related to the development of non-lethal acoustic weapons, a term used in Russian military scientific literature to describe both sound and radio frequency-based direction energy devices, as both would result in acoustic artifacts in the victim's brain. Okay, hopefully we'll get a physics explanation here. These and other operatives attached to Unit 29-155, traveling undercover, have been geolocated to places around the world just before or at the time of reported anomalous health incidents in AHIs, as the U.S. government formally refers to Havana Syndrome. Oh, anomalous health incidents. Furthermore, Joy is not the only victim to identify a known member of this Russian Black Ops squad lurking around her home. The first sighting may have happened exactly 7 years earlier. Contrary to the information that has been made public about Havana Syndrome, that it began in the eponymous. I've seen this word before. Eponymous. It's got to be that.
Eponymous.
Yeah, eponymous. Cuban capital in 2016. There were likely attacks 2 years earlier in Frankfurt, Germany, when a U.S. government employee stationed at the consulate there was knocked unconscious by something akin to a strong energy beam. The victim was later diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury and was also able to identify a Geneva-based Unit 29155 operative. The incident occurred within months of Russia's 2014 invasion of Ukraine, in which a stealthy, nearly bloodless seizure of the Crimean Peninsula in February and March 2014 gave way to a rolling 8-year-long dirty war in the eastern industrial heartland of the Donbass, close to Ukraine's border with Russia. Wait, what? Somebody was knocked unconscious by a directed energy beam? The Insider, 60 Minutes, and Der Spiegel, I don't know how to pronounce this, have uncovered documentary evidence that Unit 29-155 has been experimenting with exactly the kind of weaponized technology experts suggest is a plausible cause for the mysterious medical condition that has to date affected over 100 far-flung U.S. spies and diplomats, as well as several Canadian officials. Many are seasoned subject matter specialists on Russia, fluent in the language. Others have expertise in different fields, such as the Middle East or Latin America, but were assigned after the takeover of Crimea to sensitive U.S. government roles aimed at countermanding Russian aggression and intelligence operations across Europe and North America. Why? There are so many questions I have. First of all, if you're experimenting with these weapons, you would never take experimental technology, experimental military tech into another country where you risk it being captured by the enemy, and now you've like completely f***ed yourself. Your whole unit is completely, right? Oh shit, we got arrested because we were caught doing some weird, there's the whole military plan is completely destroyed. I guess unless you have like a self-destruct mechanism built into the car or something, but like that's so risky. Why wouldn't you just test this in your own country first? You'd perfect it first. And then secondly, why the f*** would you deploy your like most noticeable agents in foreign theaters or like in foreign countries or cities, and then have them like this is so dumb in so many different ways. But maybe, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm sure, hopefully they've got some strong evidence here. Unit 29-155 moreover, is infamous within the U.S. intelligence community. Their scope is global for conducting lethal operations and acts of sabotage. A former high-ranking CIA officer with subject matter expertise in Russia told The Insider their mission is to find, fix, and finish all in support of Vladimir Putin's imperial dreams. Originally conceived as a training unit within the GRU, it was reorganized and expanded in 2008 as an operations team devoted to assassination. Sabotage, and political destabilization campaigns across the world. 3 members of this unit, Colonel Alexander Mishkin, Colonel Anatoly Shapiga, and Major General Denis Sergeyev, were responsible for poisoning British double agent Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia with a military-grade nerve agent Novichok in Salisbury, England in 2018. In 2015, Denis Sergeyev and other unit members twice poisoned Bulgarian arms dealer Emelian Gebrev with a similar organophosphate weapon, almost certainly because Gebrev's company, EMCO, was selling ammunition to Georgia and Ukraine, 2 countries that have recently been at war with Russia. Unit 29-155 also used Serbian mercenaries to orchestrate a failed coup in Montenegro on the eve of that nation's ascension to NATO in 2016. As The Insider was the first to report, the unit was responsible for a series of explosions at ammunition and weapons depots across Bulgaria and Czechia, explosions which began in 2011, 2 years after Unit 29155's reconstitution as a Black Ops squad and right in the middle of the Obama administration's reset with Moscow. These operations killed or injured or killed dozens of innocent bystanders. Their exposures have led to the expulsion of 19 Russian diplomats from Sofia and Prague, respectively, as well as indictments by the Bulgarian government of all of Unit 29-155 saboteurs implicated in bombings in that country. More recently, members of that unit were deployed as an advanced sabotage and kill team in Ukraine in the days ahead of Russia's full-scale invasion of the country in late February of 2022. The S in Spiegel is pronounced Spiegel. Der Spiegel. Okay. Unlike other teams within Russia's sprawling intelligence apparatus, this one doesn't spy on people. At least not for the sake of gathering information. It is devoted exclusively to so-called kinetic, i.e. violent, military operations. Its predecessor and analog was the Soviet KGB's department devoted to special tasks, which conducted assassinations and acts of terrorism abroad. Its most sinister spade work included killing Ukrainian nationalists in Europe with bombs and cyanide guns and plunging an ice axe into the skull of exiled revolutionary Leon Trotsky in Mexico in 1940. Havana Syndrome, itself long thought to be the accrued biological effect caused by a different kind of unique weapon, encompasses a variation of symptoms including chronic headaches, vertigo, tinnitus, insomnia, nausea, lasting psychophysiological impairment, and in some cases, blindness or hearing loss. Many victims have said that they were fine 1 minute, then stricken with an intense pain or pressure in their skull the next, usually localized to one side of the head, as if they were caught in a beam of concentrated energy. What the f*** does this mean? A good number have been diagnosed. I feel like I had a beam of concentrated energy hit me right now. Anyone else feel that? A good number have been diagnosed with mild traumatic brain injuries. Others have suffered such severe long-term cognitive and vestibular after effects that they can no longer function on a day-to-day basis, and they have medically retired from government service. Joy has suffered from headaches every day for the past 3 years. She's also undergone 2 surgeries for semicircular canal dehiscence, the appearance of holes in the bony walls that encase her inner ears. She will need a 3rd surgery to address the rapid deterioration of her temporal bone, a condition she says her neurosurgeon cannot explain. Wait, is there anything in here about what's actually happening or what they think is happening? No. Oh. Wait, why did Dan lie to me? I told Dan that I feel like it's just gonna... Wasn't my prediction to Dan that it's just gonna be a bunch of people that have had random conditions and they say they saw Russians near them and then, that's the whole f***ing article?
Hey!
What? This is f***ing boring and retarded. What am I... Give me, the juiciest piece from this.
Just read it, bro.
No, I'm not wasting 2 hours reading this whole, thing of
I'm sorry that I wanted to get you to waste 2 hours on this. You're right. You know what we can do instead? Let's get the Playing with Fire guy on instead to debate the most mundane, actually retarded thing I've ever heard in my entire life about.
And even that's more interesting than a bunch of government officials that got headaches. Wow.
Listen to me.
What? No. Headaches? Holy shit! Not the headache. Not the headache weapon.
You know who you are? Hey, I just want you to know the only people right now that are denying this are hardcore MAGA people on the right.
Denying what? What's even being denied?
That's the only people. No, you're saying, hey, this is a nothing burger, not worth reading. So that's fine. I just want you to know who is in your company. So you know, it's a nothing burger. That's what Steven said. Listen, I'll give you the Cliff Notes if you don't want to read it. Okay?
Yeah,
the
please.
Cliff Notes of what it says is that the Russians, back when it was the Soviet Union, basically created a technology under the Soviet Union where they could direct microwaves or ultrasonic shit at people, okay, and come up, right? Like in there's shit saying that they could literally make someone just fall asleep. They could give someone brain damage. And the goal is like some insane conspiracy shit. But they're saying it like the goal was not even to kill people, but to influence their decisions. That's what they're actually trying to do. It sounds
Is it possible to even do that? How much energy would you need?
That's why it's crazy, because apparently
you have no. You're just gonna
listen.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to tell you what's happening on the article, but you just want to like kind of not read the article.
You're about to not address anything.
There's a lot of shit in here about people getting awards for doing the type of shit in here. You should read it, and then you can be like, it's bullshit or not. It would be good. You know, maybe all the people.
But people just said, is there anything in here about how the technology works, how they think it works, or is it just like people's stories about them getting headaches?
There is some stuff in there about the technology.
Okay, what do I Control F and read?
Microwave. Remember how Devin doesn't believe in those, by the way?
Okay, the U.S. government shrugs publicly about my family's ordeal.
You know what? Let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there.
On.
You're speaking in the I'm not taking this seriously voice. I need you to take it back and not speak in that voice.
Pulsed microwave radiation is one of two technologies that scientists, including those assigned by the U.S. intelligence community to investigate Havana Syndrome, have theorized as the possible cause of the condition. The other is acoustic sound. How the f*** are these? These are two completely and totally different f***ing things, no? Either of these approaches may result in the victim appearing to hear audible sounds, hums, and clicks through a phenomenon termed the Frey effect. The microwave auditory effect, also known as the microwave hearing effect or the Frey effect, consists of the human perception of audible clicks, buzzing, hissing, or knocking induced by pulsed or modulated radio frequencies. The received sounds are generated directly inside the human head without the need of any receiving electronic device. This effect was first reported by a person working in the vicinity of radar transponders during World War II. How big are these things? These are like...
So what it says is what they believe... or they have shit, is they said like back in the day they were huge, so it was like giant satellite dishes they had to put in the back of vans and around that way. But now is the belief that they've gone and they've miniaturized it much more effectively. How do I put this? It's a big story from publications that I think that you respect. Okay, I think that you at least should give them the credit of reading the story before.
I don't care anything at all about all the anecdotes. Talk to me about the technology. That's interesting. The fact that I've got 2 hours of fucking, no offense, low IQ government workers that are saying they got headaches and morning sickness. I don't want to waste my time. I would rather go and edge for 2 hours and come all over your fucking cat.
You can't see this without reading this.
Okay, hold on.
It's not that.
I'm closing my eyes. Hold on. Closing my eyes. Okay, closing my eyes. Hold on. We're gonna boom. Okay, let's see what paragraph's right now. Okay. The use of sinus route is part of the GRU's operational trade graph. It means they're throwing off counterintelligence services with false trails. As a rule, spies always leave misleading traces in their air travel, including or avoiding trips directly to their destination of interest, and sometimes investing hours or even days in diversionary travel by train or car. Additional motivation for the Russian spies, I don't care. Just give me like an article on the tech.
Why would you care? I get it.
I want an article on technology. I want an article on the technology.
Well, they don't have the fucking technology, bro. What they have.
I want an article on the theoretical application of technology.
You know what you are? You're a fucking moron. Okay? This is big news. Yep. These are allegations and pretty thought out conclusions that
They're
Russia.
Pretty thought out.
Yes.
Okay. That
Russia is essentially like fucking with anyone that like even remotely fucks with them, even in a small amount. Now, that's what it says. But, you know, I understand that if you want to conclude without reading, that's your.
Wow, bro! Thanks for the link, dude. Thank you so much. What did you say? Page 28? Who linked this retarded fucking shit?
Okay, that's funny.
Oh wait, maybe it wasn't 28. What page was it?
This guy used redact.dev. You see that?
The guy
Get
said
it?
page 25. Good one. Oh. Read it with several other recorded samples of the signal of interest made by different people on different dates and different locations. We denote these A, B, C, D with related recordings D1 and D2, E, F, G, not all of which contain analyzable data. The video sample already shown in figure 3.1 to 3.3 is denoted X. All of X, B, D, and G sound marks are the same. A piercing and slightly fuzzy high-pitched tone. Figure 3 to 8 shows that they have similar spectral characteristics but with some notable differences. All show the comb of frequencies that suggest a periodic signal. All show an envelope with substantial power of around whatever this. Most but not all show evidence of a second harmonic envelope at this. The difference among the spectra at blank are below are due to different ambient room noise and are likely not associated with a signal of interest. Sample A's broad spectral peaks at blank and blank, not seen in the other samples, are bird sounds on the recording. The most notable difference among the different recordings is that the harmonic spacings, PRFs for a periodic signal, are not the same as signal X's, but are at seemingly random values in the range of blah, blah, blah. So this is for acoustic waves. A lot of this is redacted, so I don't... With radiation, it is not possible to do this without high energy beams or damage to the outer tissue. However, it is a theoretical possibility that acoustic waves with the same resonant frequency as material in the body could do this. However, the irregular shape of the tissue and bone, along with the high dampening ratio of biological systems, makes it impossible. Okay, AKC. This is my question. This would be my main concern. If you told me that you could do this in a lab with a machine, I would believe you 100%. I'm sure this is possible with a lab, in a lab with a machine, okay? But if you told me that you could, at range, precisely direct a thing with enough energy to get however much the magnitude or whatever the fuck of the wave to carry enough energy in a way that precisely damages internal stuff without leaving any external damage whatsoever, is that physically possible? Is there anything in physics right now that we understand in terms of like manipulation of anything on the electromagnetic spectrum that does something like that? I'm not aware of anything like that. Is there? I don't even know what class you would take for studying waves like this. Like, is there an example of anything that... YT Channel Tech Ingredients made their own directed sonic energy weapons and tested it. Microwaves heat from the inside out? I don't believe that's true. I could be wrong.
You are wrong.
Okay.
Just read the fucking article.
No.
You know what? I hate you. I hate you so much. I have a Russian wife.
Yeah, okay, hold on. Just real quick. That's not true. And I even knew why ahead of time. I should have said it before even looking it up. Microwaves don't heat things from the inside out. You probably have the impression that they heat things from the inside out because you're usually thinking of, you're probably thinking of things like pizza rolls. My understanding, I know I could look some more, but I'm realizing. What?
Remember when they sponsored Twitch?
Cool.
Totino's?
Yeah. My guess is going to be what's happening. My understanding is I think microwaves work by exciting water molecules, and the excitement of the water molecule and the friction generates heat energy. When you're putting something in a microwave and you're cooking it, the outside roll isn't as like H2O dense or doesn't have as much water in it to excite as the stuff inside. And that's why when you bite into like a cold thing that's scalding hot on the inside, the impression is that, wow, the microwave must be cooking it from the inside out. But the reality is there's just more stuff in the middle to excite with the microwave radiation than this like thin, flaky bread shit on the outside.
Yeah, I know. I was just trolling you.
I'm sure you were. Yeah, okay.
On that one thing, I trolled you. On everything else, I was legit, though.
Okay.
But do you see how much confidence I had when I said it? And you're like, okay, I was wrong.
Wouldn't that work for the same way with the human body? I don't know if you could direct a microwave beam at somebody and cook something on the inside to reach an appreciable temperature on the inside, because keep in mind, all of your body internally is also, it's a giant radiator, a giant water cooler as well, right? And not cause any external damage or heating whatsoever in a way that would be noticeable. I don't know if that's true. In a random environment like outside. In theory, can't you send sound waves at resonant frequencies of the internal organs at very high SPL? Your body's probably gonna have a ton of different types of resonating things, and you would hear it. I don't know if you can do a harmonic interaction with a resonant frequency higher than what the ear could hear and have it actually impact an organ. Maybe that's possible. I don't actually know if it's possible. If it was possible, you would need an ungodly amount of energy to power that wave. But I don't know 100% if that's even possible. I'm not sure.
But wait, didn't they say they did hear shit?
It's random government workers over the collection of all these government workers saying that they have headaches and ringing in their ear.
Okay. I mean, do you think they're lying?
No, they could have any number of things wrong with them. Physics
the
guy
collective
answer.
of these people that all were involved with the anti-Russia shit, all having similar symptoms, what do you make of that?
The symptoms. Fuck, I'm getting triggered. It's okay.
Why are you getting triggered?
Because they're not. The symptoms are like pregnancy symptoms. The symptoms aren't like the person had like temporary blindness in one eye, or their hair started falling out, or they broke a bone randomly, or they developed a strange cancer always in the base of the symptoms are like headaches and nausea. Like.
Isn't there people in the study that literally had brain damage?
From what? Yeah, but from what? I mean, a lot of people have brain damage for a lot of random things. What do you mean? Like, because they have brain damage, it must have come from a directed energy weapon that the general's f***ing son was outside your house shooting? Okay, sorry.
I don't know. It might be cool to read the article and like.
I did read that story.
They like caught like Russian people like literally escaping away from the f***ing scene, and shit like that. That would be cool. And how those same Russian people got awarded medals for doing shit with like electronic interference and patents for it and shit like that from the KGB up and all that jazz. That might be interesting. That might be more to the story. You know what they say, like putting all the pieces of evidence together, like
maybe.
Spread apart, it's a conspiracy, but together.
Okay, so this guy in chat, this is my issue. I don't know if you're a physics guy or not, but it sounds like some of these stories. No, I'm talking about the guy in chat. It sounds like some of these stories say that they were able to send an EM wave through multiple layers of different buildings and directly to a certain person. It just seems impossibly difficult to do something like that. The biggest issue being that if you could penetrate like that, it wouldn't just stop. Yeah, that's what I'm not understanding here. If it was like, I would believe, you know what? I might believe this if it was an entire building full of people getting sick. Then I'd be like, oh, I can, at least like my mind and my comprehension of physics, that makes more sense. But pinpointed energy weapons that aren't leaving any external markings but are fucking your brain up, my current understanding of physics doesn't allow, at least my brain, I can't even understand that. I don't understand at all how that's even conceivably possible. It's like telling me of like a faster than light vehicle that's traveling Russian soldiers around the world to commit quick terrorist attacks on US embassies. My current understanding of physics doesn't allow for that in my brain. I don't understand how that would work. Okay, somebody said, here it is used in a real military application. All right, let's watch a video. Also, by the way, it might be possible that this is a thing, and I just don't, I'm saying, I don't have the physics understanding to understand it. It seems impossible to me, but maybe it is possible, and I just don't have the understanding for it. I just don't know how it would work.
Can I send you a link on the technology destiny?
As long as it's not f***ing retarded. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I thought you were Rage Pope. Yeah, you can send me.
There you go. Dude, don't further that conspiracy theory. Not cool.
Actually, they do sound a little bit alike, don't they? Holy shit.
You sound nothing alike at all. I don't know what you're saying.
You're like a little bit different microphone.
Portable microwave weapons capable of causing the mysterious spate of Havana Syndrome brain injuries in U.S. diplomats and spies have been developed by several countries in recent years, according to leading American experts in the field. A U.S. company also made the prototype of such a weapon for the Marine Corps in 2004. The weapon, codenamed Medusa, was intended to be small enough to fit in a car and cause a temporarily incapacitating effect, but with a low probability of fatality or permanent injury. There's no evidence that the researchers think beyond the prototype phase, and a report of that stage has been removed. This isn't really...
Hold on. You keep reading. You don't get to just stop because it stops disagreeing with you. We go through the facts.
Because it stops.
That's where we're at, right? Always the facts, the center.
The state of that science has, for the most part, been, if not abandoned, pretty much let follow in the United States, but it has not been followed elsewhere, says James Gordiano, professor of neurology and ethics at Georgetown University Medical Center. Giordano, who is also a senior fellow in biotechnology, biosecurity, and ethics at the U.S. Naval War College. was brought in as advisor by the government in late 2015 after about 24 U.S. diplomats began falling sick in Havana. He later provided an assessment by U.S. Special Forces in which countries were developing technology and became clear. Some of the work's being conducted in the former I just wanted the technology. Test structures, various materials, technology can be adapted to weapons. The second major wave of brain injuries among U.S. diplomats and intelligence officers took place in China in 2018. Particularly for giving details on which company developed.
You can scan right down to James Lynn. That's the guy who I think talks about the actual physics of what they're trying to do.
James Lynn, the leading authority, U.S. authority on the biological impact of microwave energy, said a large apparatus would not be needed to focus energy on a small area, heating it a minute amount and causing a thermoelastic pressure wave that travels through the brain, causing damage to soft tissue. Okay, I don't think people understand what the main issue is.
Decapitation effect.
Yeah, I believe you could do this in a lab with a machine. I don't know how this would go through multiple walls, like into buildings at range. That's the complicated part, but I'll keep reading. Maybe it says it here. The pressure wave would initially be experienced by the target as sound. Many of the U.S. diplomats, spies, soldiers, and officials whose symptoms are being studied as part of the Havana Syndrome investigation reported hearing strange sounds. You can certainly put together a system and a couple of big suitcases that will allow you to put in a van or SUV. It's not something that you have that you need to have an enormous amount of space to come to microwave weapons project. First of all, microwave audio effect could rapid. Given 100,000 per prototype, your portal will have a controllable radius of coverage, be able to switch from crowd to individual coverage, cause a temporarily incapacitating effect, have a low probability of fatality or permanent injury, cause no damage to property, and have a low probability of affecting friendly personnel. And even in 2004 said that hardware had been designed and built. It's quite conceivable that you can hide it in a car or in a van, but it would not work over a long distance, he said. You can do it through a wall, say, if you were in the next room in a hotel. I maybe could believe that, sure. If you had a singular wall, you knew the composition of the wall and you were setting a certain thing, yeah.
Or like through a window. Like if they were out on the street and then the person was working inside their office and it was just a window in between them. Would that be possible?
Maybe. I don't know.
If it was a focused... Well, I mean, why not? That's like even thinner than a wall.
I think as your range increases a lot there, even if it's directed through a dish or whatever, you're still working with the inverse square law, right, guys? Like the power requirements increase literally exponentially for the increase in distance, right?
Where were these people that, and at least in Havana, because if you read the first article, they talk about a lot of people outside of Havana having the same symptoms.
The symptoms mean nothing to me. It's literally nausea and headaches and tinnitus. The symptoms mean nothing to me.
Oh yeah, look at the, well, I mean, he's not going to care if you show him the embassy. It's just a lot of windows, basically, like everywhere. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, so here's a different way to think about this is, I'll link you this video from CNN. The thing, like the evidence here, I wouldn't even focus on the directed energy weapons. They have the same cell of about 50 Russian spies that they're tracking. And out of this cell of 50 people, they find 2 to 5 of these people going in the weeks before one of the Havana Syndrome outbreaks, going to one of these cities, and then leaving the second that the outbreak happens, right? So you have this set of people, if you remember, like, I think it's called Cheat Engine. You remember when you're looking for, like, hex codes and memory and stuff? It's like that idea, right? They have a list of, like, addresses they're watching, people they're watching, and they keep going to where these outbreaks happen, and then they run away as soon as they happen. So it seems like even without the directed energy weapons component, that video, this guy talks about exactly, like, why they're so confident it's Russian in origin.
Okay. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I fully agree with what Vegan Gains said. I can believe all that, but it seems so much more likely that you're looking at some form of environmental contagion here to make these people sick. So they're finding a way to poison people. They're getting like access to a pipe and they're pumping in a gas or something along the lines of that. Seems so much more likely than, yeah.
100%. I don't need to commit to the technology because that's not the most interesting part of the story. The interesting part of the story is that Russia's directing these attacks at U.S. diplomats or U.S. Intel agents.
It's a huge issue for the U.S. because both countries are like really invested in this not coming out as well. Russia's invested because they obviously don't want to have this ship be antagonized. The U.S. for the same reason. They don't want to have this huge call to war, and all of a sudden we have this huge shit show going on with another nuclear power. And then the same part, the U.S. probably doesn't want to acknowledge it because then it's kind of hard to get fucking diplomats that are gonna, or spies or anything that are gonna go against Russia if they're literally gonna be having this issue happen to them. So it's like a lot of shit not wanting to to try and keep this from coming out, essentially.
Okay, plausible mechanisms. What is this?
I think this
assessment
is
of illness of
the
US
original U.S. report. This is what they thought the number one most plausible mechanism was, I believe.
Okay, directed radio
the
frequency
directed
energy
weapon. Yeah.
Committee felt that these acute symptoms were more consistent with a directed radiofrequency attack and explored possible related mechanisms. At the same time, the chronic symptoms that were reported or often seen in patients after head trauma as a result of chemical exposure, infectious disease, or stress in a hostile environment, there did not appear to be any evidence for usual forms of traumatic injury, but the committee did evaluate possible chemical infectious causes as well as psychosocial causes for the chronic symptoms. Okay, directed radiofrequency energy. The committee relied on open source data from published literature as well as first-hand reports from clinicians, researchers, and affected DOS personnel shared in person at its December and February meetings to evaluate the plausibility of directed RF energy exposure as a cause of both the acute and chronic clinical signs and symptoms. While the committee did review the significant body of scientific literature on the potential therapeutic and palliative applications of electromagnetic energy and the health risks of microwave radiation, this subsection primarily restricts its focus to RF biological effects that are consistent with the clinical and personnel observations. Observations from clinicians, including published summaries of symptoms and experiences, and DOS personnel were considered with respect to known biological effects of a wide variety of RF exposures, defined as 30 kilohertz to 300 gigahertz, including microwave radiation at 300 megahertz to 300 gigahertz. Okay. The committee used these personal and clinician observations to identify known RF biological effects. Assessment findings. Low-level RF exposure typically deposit energy below the threshold for significant heating, often called non-thermal effects, while high-level RF exposures can provide enough energy for significant heating. Thermal effects are even burns and for stimulation of nervous and muscle tissues, shock effects. While much of the general public discussion on RF biological effects has focused on cancer, there's a growing amount of data demonstrating a variety of non-cancer effects as well, in addition to those associated with thermal heating. Based on a review of these information sources, the committee finds that many of the acute early phase symptoms and observations reported by DOS employees are consistent with RF effects, including a perceived clicking sound within the head, even when the ears were covered, a perceived force/pressure sensation within the head and on the face, perceived spatial localization and directionality of these perceived phenomena and other loud sounds, hearing loss, tinnitus, impaired gait, and loss of balance, as well as the absence of heating sensation and absence of observed disruption of electronic devices in the immediate environment. In addition, many of the chronic non-specific symptoms are also consistent with known RF effects such as dizziness, headache, fatigue, nausea, anxiety, cognitive deficits, and memory loss. The absence of certain observed phenomena can also help to constrain potential RF source characteristics. For example, the absence of reporting of a heating sensation or internal thermal damage may exclude certain types of high-level RF energy. There are multiple possible mechanisms for non-thermal RF biological effects, including apoptosis and cell oxidative stress. RF-induced non-thermal cell membrane dysfunction can occur. How do we pulse rather than continuous wave RF exposure because the reactions to pulse and CR are at equal time averaged intensities yielded substantially different results. According to Pakhamov and Murphy, the Russian Language Study Centers indicated that pulsing may be an important or even the most important factor that determines the biological effects of low-intensity RF emissions.
I also would just like to throw out that the thing you're reading is 4 years old.
Wow.
And you have an investigative report with sources and
That has
information that came out a month ago, and you won't even read it. Because
Am I
you think you know the
crazy?
an-
I
because you
feel
think
like
you
I'm
know the
going
answer
insane.
before you
I feel
even
like I'm
fucking
going
read it.
insane.
You are.
feel like
You
the
are.
world is making me
You are doing
crazy.
what you criticize so many other people for. That
No,
is
no,
just a
I'm
fact.
not. To be clear,
You are.
you're the
You don't
retard here.
understand
You're
how
the
it's
retard
possible.
here. I'm asking questions about the technology, and you're
Then
like,
read the fucking article first.
then tell
I don't know.
you can't
I'm
even.
not a scientist.
Okay, all right, okay.
I think
don't
everybody's
even-
just
it
getting
could-
really hung up on the ray gun stuff for like
Yeah,
no
it
reason.
literally-
The ray gun
literally-
stuff's
listen.
not even.
No, the problem is I don't think either I'm
because
overestimating
that
how much I know about
fucking
physics,
started the
or you have no
article, doesn't have a
idea
fucking
how
schematic,
electromagnetic
you won't even read
radiation
it.
works. You're like, oh, you can take a gun and shoot a precise beam at somebody's head
No, I
through
didn't-
7
I
different
didn't say
layers
that.
in a apartment and cause them to have headaches. My understanding of EM radiation is that breaks
Which is
every
nothing.
fucking. No,
Which
you
is
either.
nothing.
You, yeah,
Which is
okay,
nothing.
which is
Mine
nothing.
too.
Apparently, it's more than yours. If your convincing evidence
No,
is 9
they're the
stories
same. We're
about
both
fucking
retarded.
retards getting headaches. Okay,
Okay,
Jesus
what's
Christ.
really happening is there an article, and it's not starting with a schematic for a ray gun so you won't even read it, when the whole article is supposedly about how Russia has this entire system in place for targeting fucking diplomats across the country. Or sorry, across the world.
Where's the physics
Kind
guy
of
in
a
chat?
fucking
Can
big
somebody
deal.
link me like an explanation of how this would
Yeah,
work?
I
That's
know.
all I want.
If only
Until
there was,
then,
like, some
I don't need
succinct
stories.
fucking
I don't need
article.
stories of government officials. You won't believe this. I had a
not
headache
stories.
and I was
Yeah, you haven't read
nauseous
it.
and I had anxiety. Oh my God.
Hey, you know what you're doing right now? You're assuming. Like, you know what? Someday, oh God. I hope that they find the fucking ray gun. And when they find the ray gun, I want every conservative ever to find you doing this in here where you wouldn't even read the article because you were assuming. I'm not saying there's a ray gun. I'm saying it's a fucking really interesting fucking article that has a lot of sources and a lot of information that seems to back up the idea that Russia is systematically targeting American diplomats across the world.
Sure, I could believe that. But that's not the
Okay,
interesting
and you're like-
part.
and you're
That's
like,
not the
"Show me
interesting
the
part.
ray gun."
The interesting
That
part is
is
the
the interesting
claim
part.
that it's a directed energy weapon that can be fired at range through walls and is portable. That's a really fascinating claim. Russia trying to
Why is
poison
that the
people or
interesting
doing
part?
weird
Not
shit to people in
poison,
embassies.
Not poison. First off, no one said poison. And if you go through either the video or the article, it does go in there about how special groups have been set up, how they've done
Oh my
like
God.
fucking patents and
Special
things like that.
groups, patents.
Well, you
One of the
won't read
guys
it.
from
You
this
won't read it.
unit, the big piece of evidence is one of the guys from this unit was awarded, given I think 100,000 rubles, for testing an auditory weapon of some kind.
Wow, that's not the have you ever had a baby before? That's an auditory weapon. The question is whether you can shoot something at range, undetectable through walls from a mobile power supply, and not have anybody catch you and direct the effect at one person. That's the
I'm
claim.
just explaining
That's
to
a
you
hugely
why
different
they're going
claim
with
than
the
just
direct
like.
energy weapons thing.
I know. Sorry. Okay.
I'm not all that big on that theory. I think the cool thing is that they clearly tracked all of these spies, and it's clearly Russia doing it. Now, these spies are also famous for like Novichok poisonings as well, right? Organophosphate poisonings.
Which makes sense.
Possible
Yeah, Russia
they
has a
have
history of
something
that, and we
like
can understand that. That's not
entirely
breaking the
possible
laws
they
of
have something
physics for
like
us to
that.
understand it. Yeah.
Okay. You know what? Let's take a step back.
Okay.
No ray gun. Ray gun doesn't exist. New article just came out, Steve. You know what this article says? Russia has systematically been targeting any diplomat or journalist that goes against them for the last 10 years.
Yeah. You mean for the last like 100 years, right? I mean, yeah, we already know
I
that,
mean,
of
if you
course,
don't- if you
right?
don't- Well, no, I didn't know that. I think that's a pretty big escalation. I don't think. the
Wasn't there
US
literally a guy
I don't
in-
think the United States attacks other people's diplomats.
Was his no? We shouldn't be caught doing it.
I don't
Was
think
it was
other countries
Navalny?
do
What
that
was the
either.
name of the guy in Russia that died recently? Was it Navalny?
Navalny.
Yes.
Wasn't he poisoned in the United Kingdom by Russia? Am I making that up, or is it a different person?
I think was that one of their nuclear, like their
Like a plutonium thing, like a radiation thing? Like Russia's been doing the. Oh, yeah, it was him, wasn't it? Or was it in Germany? Like Russia does this stuff. I'm not saying that what you're saying isn't bad. That's horrible. And if we found more information out about it, yeah, there should be, things around that. He was poisoned in Germany. That was a different guy. Okay, I'm thinking of a different guy.
I was a nerve agent with Navalny.
Yeah, which is.
I'm invested in this being a ray gun now. It's
I'm not
a ray
invested
gun.
in the
I'm
story of
invested in it
Russia doing. Yeah,
because
so
the
am I.
walkback is
No,
gonna be
you're not.
amazing.
There's no walk back. Oh my God, you're so stupid. You're on Alex's level right now of debate. There are 9 people with headaches. Therefore, physics has been changed radically. That's
Yeah,
what you're
I mean,
debating me
there's
with
guys
right
that
now.
are f***ing blind that can't hear anything. Steve's like, he doesn't feel well. He has a headache. That's you.
Wait,
That's
hold
what
on,
you do.
wait. Okay, wait. So a guy was instantaneously at range, caused like instantaneous blindness, or let me find that in the story.
Maybe you should read the article. I mean, that's crazy. If we read it, let's just assume. Let's assume.
Havana Syndrome
what?
itself, long thought to be the accrued biological effect caused by a different kind of unique weapon, encompasses a variation of symptoms,
There it
including
is, the not serious voice.
chronic headaches, vertigo, tinnitus, insomnia, nausea, lasting psychophysiological impairment, and in some cases, blindness or hearing loss. Holy shit! It's an energy weapon that hits your brain. It causes every thing to happen.
Big
Oh my
deal.
God! I heard that this actually ages you 1 year for every 1 year you live as well. It's crazy. And if you
know
wait
what?
long enough without
Everyone got
drinking
it
any
wrong.
water, it makes
They
you
said
thirsty
that
too.
I was your Mossad handler. You're actually handled by f***ing Russia.
You're shooting
That's
an
it.
energy weapon at me right now. I can feel the
No,
headache coming
you
on. I'm about to go
are
throw up.
You know what? I don't even care if it's real or not. I care that you won't even read the article because you made up your mind before you read it.
I haven't
That's
made up
it.
my mind. I just asked if there's
you
anything
have-
about the
you have
technology in here.
Absolutely made up your mind about if this is a big deal or not before you've read it, and everyone fucking sees it. 100%.
Okay, here's a
so bad
question.
that when
Do
you're
you want to
reading-
make a bet on whether or not a directed energy weapon will be discovered within the next year?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
What odds?
So 1 to 1.
Okay.
No shot. Give it Dan like 3-1 odds.
No,
He's
Dan and I both have
impossible.
Dan and I both have the same non-existent level understanding of physics. That's
Oh,
what
that
Dan
is true.
said. Yes.
you
So in that
don't
case,
think-
we're
you say
both shooting in
it's
the dark.
impossible.
If anything, Dan should give me
here's
odds
the-
because he's got this
here's the-
huge
here's the
article that's
difference.
backing his whole thing up. But I'll do
No,
1 to 1.
no.
I'll do 1 to 1.
Hold on
Okay.
a second. Wait a second.
What?
I'm a retard. You're very confident that I can't exist.
I'm not.
I admit that I'm retarded.
I haven't.
so
Hold on. Wait.
should
Can you
definitely
even
be honest
restate my claim?
that there is no directed energy weapon because it wouldn't go through fucking windows or walls. It's not possible.
Okay. You're not even following the conversation.
Oh, you are changing something right now. I am in the conversation. I
I'm
am
sorry.
Definitely.
Did I say earlier? Did I say that my understanding of physics means that this particular thing shouldn't be possible? Can somebody show me the mechanism? That's what I asked. That was my
is
question.
Debate pervert topic point saying my understanding it shouldn't be possible.
Yes. Because
Well, you don't know anything.
I
Your
literally,
understanding of physics is
I
nothing.
literally
Mine too.
said,
We're both retarded.
like 60 seconds later, maybe I don't understand the how this type of radiation works. Maybe there is a way to do this. Somebody link me. That's why I literally asked in chat verbatim, hey, you're a physicist. Can somebody link me like a mechanism that would explain how this would be possible? I literally asked these exact questions.
Listen, okay? Neither of us knows anything. So the best you'll give me is 1 to 1.
Okay, $100 within 1 year. Okay.
Let's do it. Let's do 1,000.
No, it has to go through walls. Okay.
Oh, I know how we can
It has
do
to be
too. No,
directed.
stop.
No, and it's not going to be buying anything. No, it's $100. The same mechanism that lets you receive cell phone signals through walls
Yeah.
at Destiny. Yes. However,
Dan,
one,
did you just see
cell
what
phone
happened there?
signals
Did you just see
don't
what
go
happened?
through. Cell phone signals cannot penetrate every wall. Okay. Number one. Okay. It can only make it through some walls, depending on how you're connected. Number one. And number two, cell phone radiation is not directed. Okay. I'm pretty sure it just emanates from the tower. Number two. And number three, would you say the wave is at such an amplitude? Is that how you're measuring strength of the wave? Is it amplitude? Or is amplitude, it's not frequency. Frequency is the, oh my God, I don't remember anything from physics. I think amplitude is the strength and frequency is like the kilohertz is the tone. I'm using the auditory explanation. But it doesn't do damage to you, right? That's the difference. Okay, now imagine if cell signals were directed, huge power, boom, roasted. I don't know what it means. I don't have the background. I just don't know what it means I don't know if you can direct a wave. I'm pretty sure you can to some extent because I'm pretty sure that like microwave internet towers exist that are directed, but I don't know if that means that it's actually like shooting it in a pinpoint or if you're just aiming a dish at an area and it's going in like a general direction. I'm not 100% sure about that. I don't know. That's why I'm asking. Give me a link to a physics video that explains how directed energy will work, like through walls. That's all I want. Okay? That's all I'm curious about.
I haven't done it yet,
Stuff.
but I can't say that yet, though. You know.
I can say your mom.
This is the. Oh, he's back.
Oh, so here's what this hurts me a little bit, but for the bet that we do, $1,000, 1 to 1. That's fair. And if I win, you have to donate to a Palestinian charity.
No, not even $100 for that. Can you agree that sound used at a low frequency can cause headache, tinnitus, etc.? You're talking what, below 20 hertz? If you want to power something below 20 hertz to affect a person, you from a far away range, wouldn't you need an ungodly amount of power for that? I'm just thinking of like the subs in my car. Like for subs, you need tons of. It's way easier to send low frequency waves. Rage Pope, you're literally retarded. Why are you typing in my chat? What do you think takes more power? A 4-channel amp for normal speakers or a subwoofer for an amplifier for subs? It's easier to send low frequency waves. I'm pretty sure high frequency waves travel easier to a person that can hear them more than low frequency ones. I'm like 50% sure. I just hate Rage Pope.
Listen, Rage Pope's a smart guy. You gotta trust the people like that, you know?
No,
Knows
Rage Pope
something.
Rage Pope is like my dad, where he has an answer for everything and he'll speak with the same level of conviction. He has no idea what he's talking about.
Look how this guy in your YouTube chat spelled neutrino bars.
Based.
I didn't mean to make you so mad. I just wanted to watch you watch the video.
Well,
Or
I
read the
can't because you
article.
gave me 60 minutes shit, so you're trying to destroy me.
You literally
What,
can't watch
Steven?
60 minutes?
You should
What?
look up. You should look up research on infrasound, because that's what you're talking about. And infrasound is a decently like researched thing. It's definitely like stretched beyond what like woo-woo people think it is. But I was in a lab that used infrasound to make like this Halloween set haunted house more spooky. So
What
it
does
is a
that have to
thing.
do?
Rage Pope is-
What does that have to do with what we're talking about?
Wait, you guys are talking about low frequency sounds being emanated out by like 20 kilometers, or am I like super far behind?
Okay.
And it gives you headaches and stuff like that, right?
The tides are turning against you.
Yep.
Wait, this is all just all I'm saying. Don't believe me. Just look up the term infrasound on like Google Scholar.
Okay.
Again, people take it out of context, but
Yep.
there is some evidence.
Don't worry.
be some-
If he looks it up, he's gonna do the bullshit voice when he reads it. I can do it. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me do the bullshit voice. Subscribe to LilyP2, youtube.com/channels. White people happy. I donate to Mr. Gemzar for making Cybervegan have to do that work for Ko-Fi. Gemzar. That's what you do when we're supposed to discount completely whatever you read. You know what I want? This is the way I want you to read. So subscribe to LilyP2, white people happy. I donate to Mr. Gemzar for making Cybervegan have to do half the work. Let me see what that is on Wikipedia. That's the voice I want when you're reading it. Okay?
True.
That's the inquisitive, interested Steve, not the I don't want to read this article.
Okay.
I need, if anybody, if
Okay,
I have any people that
relax.
understand anything about physics, please, God, please, for the love of fucking God, come in here. I need you, please. Holy shit,
not
I
gonna
want to
know
fucking
where.
kill myself.
We're all so stupid, you know?
We're all so dumb. Just look up infrasound.
I don't
Steven.
need to. It has not. You're what you already
Look it up.
said was already encompassed by what I said earlier. Okay, I love you, but
No.
please,
What? Say it.
what you just said. You said in a lab. In a lab, in controlled settings, there's a ton of shit that you can do. You can literally pinpoint cancer in a person's body and shoot it with radiation and pinpoint and kill it. In a lab is different than directed at range against a target through walls with mobile power supplies and mobile directionality without being detected by other people. That's the question. That's the question. Okay? It's not like in a lab can you do a thing? Obviously you can do a thing. There's a ton of things you can do in a lab
It is
with
not a
complicated
lab.
machinery.
It's not in a lab. It was
Okay.
real life studies. They were putting in haunted houses. Obviously, it's not identical.
It's not pinpoint directed. Pinpoint directed.
I already said people tend to take it to far extremes.
That's
But
the
as a
whole
result, they're
question.
tossing the baby out with the bathwater.
No, it's not tossing the. If the question was people went into a room and when they were in that room for a while, they started to feel really shit. Everything you're saying applies, and I understand there's technology to make that happen. The question is, can you shoot this at range through walls and have a pinpoint effect on a person?
I mean, probably not. But you should look it up on Google Scholar anyway.
I also think most of these things were through Windows, just so it's clear.
Ooh.
Hold on. Just to be clear, so that I can understand, because I'm a guy that's seen houses before, okay? You're saying most of these things were through ground floor rooms with a window visible on the outside where a person had a clear shot of the window on the street. That's where all of the, and it can't be most of them, it would be all of these. That's where every single one of these was reported?
Or the person was outside.
Because people said this was happening in embassies. So these embassies all have windows that have a clear straight line of sight from within 100 meters or whatever, I guess, outside where a person can aim shit.
I don't know. Pull up a picture of the Havana
Possibly.
embassy. Let's see.
Isn't it possible that it's like a wave of sound, so it doesn't have to be pinpointed? It just has to be strong enough to affect the individual.
Also, I would imagine they'd have
I'm
a
gonna kill myself.
calibrated
I'm killing
distance
myself.
and like, yeah, if they'd calibrate the machine, right? And wait for the person to walk onto wherever they were going to fire it. I would assume that's how they do it. Because that's how you would guarantee that you could...
I don't know how you...
Oh, go ahead.
Can you pinpoint stuff
considering-
like that? I'm not aware of how you do that. I don't know how you do that. Is it possible?
It's okay. It's
Considering-
okay. We don't know. Oh, it's vegan games.
Well,
Go ahead, vegan.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
considering Russia's history with using poisons, I don't know why people aren't just assuming it's.
Well, they're not assuming poisons because I think when they do
The
the
symptoms.
analysis of the people, they're not finding any traces of any poisonous
Wait a
material.
minute. Oh my God, that's the best analogy here. What we had with the poisoning before, when Novichok first came out, people didn't know what the fuck it was. It was wild shit. Right?
True.
You would have been like,
Infrasound's the new thing.
show me the science. I don't see it. They just got sick.
It's not real. Ultrasensitivity is just not
Exactly.
possible.
Oh my
But it
God.
is.
That would have been you. There would have been a 3
No,
journalist Just combination
Look,
article about how Russia has a new
poisoning
poison.
Is much so. Look, Russia has a history of using different poisons to kill people.
Oh yeah.
And poisoning isn't something that breaks the laws of physics as we know it.
Yeah, but
and it's not
neither
some
does
like
infrasound.
magic weird energy weapon that like. Here's the thing. If you're gonna say somebody was murdered with something, but you have nothing that even gives you evidence of a type of weapon being used, like show me the gun, basically, is what I'm saying.
It could be like a big amp, right? Like a really, really big speaker.
Yeah, you've seen like the Fender, speakers that people have in their house. Oh, sorry, the Marshall ones. You know what I'm talking about? Like the Marshall speakers. One of those, basically. With a also put like a
cars with subwoofers.
like a cone. Like a street
Yes.
cone.
Like
Yeah.
you're
Pointed the other
suggesting it's a new weapon that you can't show me what it is. Nobody
Yes.
understands how this could possibly even work.
Well, I
It doesn't
think
even
We
make
know we
sense
do.
how it works.
I think they have
don't know
kind of a
why
good
you'd
idea.
assume. Like I don't understand why you'd assume it's like some sort of energy or sound weapon.
Well, I guess the
we're
idea is that
it's infrasound, right?
well, the idea is that it's some sort of either acoustic or energy, whatever. And the idea is that when it's directed at you, it causes some form of cavitation inside of your brain. Okay, right? So that type of thing is something that could be reasonable.
That doesn't
would-
actually make any kind of sound that can pass through walls and doesn't damage
Well,
any
hold on,
other
hold on,
objects in its path.
hold on.
Microwave radiation, when you're hit with it at certain parts of like your head and inner ear, it does cause you to basically hallucinate sounds. Like you hear sounds that aren't there.
And to be clear,
Just like
these people,
radiation is just mystery energy, okay? That's not real.
yeah, that's true too. Also,
I'm not saying that.
Well, hold on, vegan gains. You just said and it leaves no sound. The people did say they heard sounds.
Well, yeah, and that can
Well,
also be
hold
explained
on.
by poisoning.
What?
You can actually end up hearing sounds and shit when you're being poisoned. There are side effects of certain
Am I getting
poisons
trolled?
that will...
I first off, just to be clear, I'm not trolling. I think that we should read the article and
do
like
you
actually
understand
listen.
like how many fucking medications that exist that actually cause damage to your ears and hearing, that can cause tinnitus, loss of hearing, make you auditorily hallucinate? Like there's medications that do this.
Yes, I understand, but not that you have sudden clicks and you get, it's okay. All right, you're right. It's poisoning through the window.
Well, I'm not saying it's poisoning through the window. Like
How would
I'm
they
saying,
get all
somebody like an agent could be slipping something into somebody's coffee. There could be a number of different explanations for this.
Oh, yeah.
But
So you think
again,
infrasound
I've
off-label vegan gains? No, there's a 0% chance that it's infrasound.
No, it can't. It can't be
The
infrasound
likely-
because it wouldn't be affecting a pinpoint location through walls that nobody else is hearing or being affected by.
Window.
Yeah, again, it's pinpoint. Only one person is being affected. It's
There
not
might only be one person
It's not
in there.
causing.
In the whole embassy?
It's not causing any kind of
In the
vibration
window.
or damage to any other object, but somehow it's specifically attacking the tissues within your head.
And doesn't leave any external marks on the body whatsoever, but it's enough to cause like irreparable or long-term damage inside the head.
Like, how are you passing through that much? So, like a window, concrete, through
It would be just a
through
window,
the
right?
skin. Through
Dan
the
made that up. I don't know
dermal
why
layers
we're
of your
running with
skin,
that. That is
through
only that
muscle
every
tissue,
single one of these happen
through your
only through
bones.
windows. But
Yeah, through the bones in your skull, but then somehow it only damages your brain tissue.
Are you asking me?
I'm asking, well, whoever is supporting this.
Dude, I dropped out of
anti-weapon
fucking
thing.
high school
Then why would you assume this is an energy weapon?
because I read the article, and that's the assumption
I
that they
just
have.
read the article. Well, I also read the article that shows that literally this technology with microwaves has been made and it works. The range is short, but like it has been made and it works. And the only hiccups the
Well-
U.S. government had with it were that they couldn't test it on humans or animals effectively because of ethical laws they have. And
the
ethical
U.S. the
guidelines.
same one that did MK Ultra.
So-
What year was this when the U.S. military was highly ethical with their testing and couldn't
Are we
test on?
already trying to discredit what he just said? Why not?
No, that was just an
genuinely
interesting
try
statement.
to
I'm
get
sorry.
information?
The que- no,
Wait,
the,
Yes, thank you.
the question was, can you show me the application of this with the constraints that we're working with here? I don't know. You guys keep doing this, and you're going to keep doing this. I don't know why I'm saying this, but I keep saying I don't know how you could do an energy weapon like this that would penetrate a material, cause a specific type of damage, and leave no other mark or affect other people. And then you keep saying, and then you've done this like 5 times. You're like, oh, well, but there was one weapon that worked outside on a bunch of people. Or you're like, well, but there was one weapon that worked on a person right next to him. Well, but there was, like, you're giving me all these other things that I agree. Yeah, these obviously exist. Isn't this literally how radar shit was, like, thermal effects were discovered? Wasn't it like a British dude standing next to a fucking satellite dish and a Hershey bar melted in his pocket? Like, yes, this type of shit obviously can affect normal people. You have ionizing radiation. You've got radiation that you can use to kill cancer. You've got X-ray radiation. You've got ultrasounds for imaging things in human bodies. I agree that all of these things exist and can happen. And you keep giving me examples in environments that I agree that it can exist in. Do you have a single example of any of these technologies working through walls on individual targets? Just one example of this. No, wait, for just a goal. Just one example. Okay, that's all. That's what I'm curious about.
I have an example for you.
Okay.
Okay, where's the example through walls that you're talking about? That you're the victim who was hit through a wall. Can you give me that example?
My understanding is the reason why this stuff is so mysterious is because all of it is happening inside buildings and shit, inside embassies and whatnot. No, wasn't that the whole point of this?
No. Lots of these people are being hit at their private homes.
What does a home have around it? What makes it a home? What's the difference in the home and the outside, Justical?
All of the examples I've seen have been either in their homes or outside or in the home right next to a window when they're the only person home. People's pets have been hit apparently, so I can't imagine it's actually that accurate or effective in terms of focusing in just on one person.
Are the pets reporting tinnitus?
Yeah, that was my joke too. Good one. How does the dog tell you can't hear anything?
So again, like you're acting as if, oh well, the U.S. developed this technology. It's a microwave, okay? So if you shoot a microwave at somebody and it has enough energy, it's going to damage tissue. Now again,
no. You only need to increase the temperature in the brain slightly to cause this shockwave effect, which rattles the brain and damages tissues. You don't need to heat the brain enough to cause tissue damage.
Wait, that causes the shock. Can you?
Again?
Oh wait, is it in the article? The shockwave effect.
That's in the article. Yes, that shockwave effect. And it says specifically that the U.S. government contractor that developed this weapon documented specifically the microwave auditory effect, like the hearing sounds from this microwave weapon.
Well, I don't think that has to do with the shockwave effect that you just mentioned, though. Where is this shockwave effect, or what's it called in the article?
Jacob, that's literally why this is interesting. You can just... Sorry, it's not in that article. It's in the other one I sent you.
Oh.
So you're saying that the microwave radiation doesn't have enough energy to actually like burn your skin, but it's enough energy to create some sort of shockwave effect in your brain, and that's what damages your brain tissue.
Yes, and causes the immediate symptoms.
Okay.
Vegan Gains, have you read the article?
Yeah, I have.
The whole thing?
But again, this is just me defending the idea that the technology could exist. I don't think the technology is particularly important, and I would agree with Vegan Gains that it seems also possible that it could be a poison or something. I just think it's interesting that Russia is directly tied to this, while the intelligence agencies said, no, we're medium to high confidence or intermediate to high confidence that no foreign adversaries are behind these attacks. And now it seems like that's just not true. That's the interesting part of this to me is people who have their faith in institutions shaken are going to have it shaken further if this is proven to be true.
Like, for me, I just have to see.
Did they say that that Russia's absolutely not involved, or did they just say there's no proof of like a strange energy weapon? What was the statement by the U.S. intelligence agencies on this?
It was
2020 or 2024?
Either one.
Well, I don't know.
I could go find the exact wording for you, but it was basically they
no foreign
found it
adversaries were involved.
Unlikely a foreign adversary is involved, and they gave that statement that it's unlikely a foreign adversary is involved medium to high confidence.
Okay, wait. If a foreign adversary is involved with a novel weapon that's never been seen before in all of human history, why would it be insane that an intelligence might say it's unlikely that a foreign agent is involved? Wouldn't that make sense?
I didn't say it was a weapon that's never been seen before in human history. I said it's clearly, like it seems from the evidence in this article, it's clearly Russia. And this guy himself says, well, why am I able to figure this out when the U.S. has infinitely more resources than I do?
Well, to be clear, this guy hasn't figured out anything. He's found a bunch of people that got headaches.
You haven't read the article.
You've already missed the whole point. The whole interesting part of this is that they took the same group of 50 Russian guys, they go to all of these sites where the Havana Syndrome breaks out, and then they see them all leaving right after it breaks out, as in, like it's just a very clear pattern, and they say they have 8 instances of this happening with Havana Syndrome.
Okay.
Yeah, so the issue is the logical leap here. Without actually knowing what the weapon is involved or how these people are being attacked, I don't know why you'd just jump to some sort of microwave radiation thing. Like, yeah, these people could be involved, but they could be like poisoning.
Like, yeah,
these people
using
or
poison,
attacking
like
them in
any
some
other of the
other-
Russian tactics
Sure.
where they've, yeah.
Yeah, and
I
they're,
just
they're
think
well
the
known for
technology is
doing this.
interesting and it's possible. I don't necessarily think they did that. I think that again, I feel like I'm a broken record. The interesting thing is that it clearly seems to be Russia after the intelligence agencies said no, it's a medium to high confidence. It is not a foreign adversary. That's the interesting part of this story to me.
Why is it clear that it's Russia?
Because they saw a bunch of the same agents at different places.
Steve actually doesn't know because he doesn't read the article.
Wait, actually, wait, just curious. Do they have video evidence of anything of these people, or is it all just like people saying that, like, oh,
man.
that's the guy?
Oh man,
I'm just curious.
Yeah, if you read the
Documentary
article.
evidence from multiple sources.
But wait. When you say multiple sources, wait, Justical, real quick.
Video evidence.
Wait, Justical, because apparently Dan didn't watch any of this and can't answer the questions. Do they have like video photographic stuff of these guys in multiple areas, or is it just eyewitness reports?
Not video photographic stuff. There's eyewitness reports and U.S. government confirmation that the young guy, the first one you're reading about, 2 U.S. officials confirmed that he was in Tbilisi at that time. They have the pattern of how they travel. They break up their travel into different cities. They fly to certain cities. They drive the rest of the way. They do a bunch of stuff to break up all of their travel. So they have that pattern established, and then they show them in those cities. So it's in Tbilisi for this one, specifically the capital. And beyond that, they have confirmation from the U.S. government and an eyewitness source. So they have the travel documentation.
Is that in one of the
documentation, the U.S. government confirmation, and the eyewitness report?
Is that for one of the places, or is that for all of the places that are being talked about in here?
I believe for all of the places they have multiple levels of information. For some of them, I wouldn't doubt that they only have the travel to those areas corresponding with the dates.
Do you think that's
again,
sufficient?
and the article only has 3 of the 8.
Do you think that's sufficient to show that this is like a foreign state's plot to be fucking with American?
It's 50 people. It's 50 people who are going in the weeks before these attacks happen and leave immediately after they're done. The odds of this happening by chance are astronomical.
Okay, so I just want to say then, we have a foreign state that's testing an experimental high-value weapon on their near peer, the most powerful country in the world,
Yeah.
Yes.
in a different country that isn't their own, rather than testing it in their own state on people who would not be able to show it. And they're doing it in a pretty low-value way, rather than when they might need it to release this tech for like a very valuable operation.
Yeah, this is why my priors on this were also so
the-
like crazy. Like, weirdly, this is like the directed energy weapon is to cause headaches in a bunch of like embassy
They're
retards. Like,
explicitly attempting to cause damage to American intelligence agents and diplomats who are working against Russia's interests, and they're doing it because they can do that against that near peer or that higher tier power, and they can do it without it being a declaration of war. They're not killing these people. They're not ever going to be caught with like poisons. They're doing a non-lethal attack.
wait, hold on.
because
They're
that
not
works
ever going to be
very
caught without
this.
poisons. They're just going to be caught with these massive battery-powered fucking intercoherence EM wave radiation machines on their fucking vehicles.
You know that they've done this already, right? They've been
Done
caught
what?
doing this to
Wait,
people.
and-
They were bathing the whole embassy in Moscow. They're bathing the whole embassy in microwave radiation for decades.
An
do this
embassy
shit
in
up.
Moscow?
This is a foreign country.
It gives them
with
plausible-
experimental
it gives them
tech
plausible
that'll give away
deniability.
You mean a Russian embassy in another country?
Yes. So specifically, the cluster of cases that the article brings up is that the CIA office in Kiev that operated in the lead up to Euromaidan, that is the office. They're targeting multiple people out of there. So the people from there go to other cities all around the world and then suddenly come down with Havana Syndrome. So they're being targeted in a revenge plot against these agents who must have been critical in working against Russia when they were trying to take over Ukraine, when they're trying to have...
Hold on.
I can't remember the guy's
Are you
name,
saying
whatever
they're
their
not
president
experiencing
was.
the symptoms until after they've left?
Wait, they're experiencing... Yeah, not until after they left. But it's
Aren't
the
these-
same
aren't these
cluster of
weapons
people who
a-
are being
a
targeted
very
in
acute
different
thing?
places all around the world.
The
very
test
acute
example
thing.
you linked to the weapons was an
Yes,
acute,
I don't believe they were
acute
hit.
response.
I don't believe they were hit because obviously the whole point of the article is that these Russians go to that foreign city. So one of them's in Guangzhou, one of them's in Hanoi, Vietnam, right? They're all over the world. These Russians go to these places, and then these people who used to work at the Kiev office are targeted, right? They've transferred out of the Kiev office, they've gone somewhere else, and then they are targeted explicitly.
But they're getting symptoms for a gun that supposedly gives acute symptoms when you're being hit with it. But they're getting these symptoms long term when they're very clearly not being hit with these guns. Do you understand the confusion here?
What?
It's
No,
the shockwave
no.
syndrome. The shockwave rattles around for about a month before it takes effect.
What?
Okay.
No, I didn't say any of that. I don't know who are you guys arguing with?
Well, I asked you. I said, wait, you're not. You said, I asked you. Well, hold on. I asked. Wait. You just said. Hold on. You just said who you're arguing with. I can just restate the question. Okay, you asked a rhetorical question. You didn't actually want the answer. Okay, go ahead. Oh, can I ask the question?
My point this entire time has been the agents going to locations in a fairly conclusive manner, right?
Yeah, but it's not even if they're not experiencing symptoms until after they've. Oh my god! If they're not experiencing the symptoms until after they've left, how the fuck do we even know it originated from here? Because we saw the same Russians there.
No, because it's the people who are in that office working against Russia, purportedly by the article, and they're being targeted as revenge, as in they're being targeted years down the line, years later, after they've done these things, as a form of revenge. That is the motive.
So they're deploying a novel directed energy weapon towards people that aren't even involved in active operations anymore.
Article claims, yes.
Okay.
Well, by the way,
I don't know if they're not. I don't know if they're not deployed in active operations. I don't know what they're doing in those countries. They could very easily be working against Russia in those countries.
By the way, not every single person who's being reported to have Havana Syndrome has any detectable brain damage.
Okay, so my understanding for these directed energy weapons, even in the like lab situations,
you guys don't have to say my understanding because none of us have any understanding.
Yeah, I'm a retard.
Okay,
they give a very acute, discomfort, but they do not have long-term, months-long
directed energy weapons. I would rather we didn't talk about them at all because they're actually not important to the story.
They are. That's the most interesting part about this story. That's super interesting.
They're literally not important to the story at all.
You're using a documentary as proof. Documentaries are super questionable because you're able to pick whatever things you want and put them that they push your narrative and ignore anything that doesn't and just publish it. You can just fucking yeet that thing out into the world. There's so many bullshit documentaries that push these weird narratives. And if there's like intelligence agencies and like third-party reports that go against this with like scientists and stuff who say like this is pretty unlikely.
Bodies who put their reputations on the line to publish this piece of information. So literally, like all of them are going to be a laughingstock if this is disproven. But
you can't disprove nothing. Wait, none of this. None of this can be disproven. There's not even a strong claim made in here. This is all like. None of this can be disproven.
Easily be disproven. One of these
you haven't read the article. You can't say it.
Could come out and say, "Hey, this person you're talking about being in this location, they're not there. You just made that up. You're lying."
Okay, wait, but they knew the people were there. But what is a strong claim that could be disproven from any of this reporting?
That these specific Russian agents, these specific Russian nationals, are in these cities at these specific times. That's the general fact pattern that leads to the entirety of the article.
The strong claim is not that Russians were in these cities. The claim is that Russians are using novel weapons to induce damage in U.S. intelligence people in ways that are untraceable. How could you ever disprove that story? As long as the Russians were there, the story must be true.
That part.
Then that's the big claim. That's the most important part.
I don't think that's the primary thrust of the story, which is why when I link you that CNN article, I don't even know how much he talks about that. It's exactly what I said. Sorry, not CNN article, CNN video. I linked you the CNN video where the guy, the lead investigator, talks about the fact pattern and what's important here. Oh, we definitely know it's tied to Russia. I literally don't give a shit about the directed energy weapons. That was the U.S. intelligence service's own investigatory finding. Okay, that kind of microwave radiation weapon or auditory weapon was the most likely cause of this. Now they could be wrong. That's totally fine. But I literally don't care if they're wrong. He fucking muted.
Who did?
Okay.
Me? I'm not. I'm just.
Oh. The fuck? I'm really behind on your stream. Never mind. Sorry, I thought I saw you talking. I was super pissed. At nobody.
So the only real evidence that people were in that town.
Dan needs a virtue signal for a little bit.
Just a little bit more. Okay.
I'm really disappointed that Steven is ignoring this article, and I don't understand any implications of it, but it's crazy to me.
You know what? I can say it in a way it makes sense. Do you respect the organizations that have put this together? Yes or no? Do you think that these are fucking Daily Mail tier shit? Yes or no? Answer the fucking question. Come on.
Not more than intelligence agencies with what.
It's not even about that. It's that.
Oh, you won't answer. Okay, that's fine. If you don't want to answer, we can move on.
It's a childlike question.
That you won't answer.
No, I won't, because it's a childish question. The question isn't, do I respect the publication? The question is, what did they publish? If you have the time to read the material, you don't cite the authority of the publication, you cite the fucking material, okay? Pretty sure The Lancet is like one of the most respected medical journals in the world, and they're the ones that publish the studies saying that vaccines cause fucking autism. So just because you got a respected publication doesn't mean that it's never fucking wrong. You just deal with the underlying material, that's it.
We have 3 different organizations, which I believe that you probably would say I respect them. I think that these guys...
Let me read it. I'm reading it, okay? I'm reading it. Let me read it. I'll read it. No, I'm reading it. No, why waste time virtue signaling? We don't have much time on stream left. Oh, he wants to virtue signal. Because you're not saying anything of substance. You're about to virtue signal. Okay, go ahead.
So here's the other thing here's the problem I have now. Now you're so committed, it'll never get a fair shake.
I'm not committed. You don't even know anything about any of this. You have no idea what the claim even is here.
Exactly. I just want you to read it.
That's what I'm doing. I just said I would read it. I'm reading it right now.
You came into this whole thing saying it's bullshit.
I came in saying I didn't understand any of the mechanisms for how the technology would work. And nobody has a single link or anything. And Gisticle here isn't even on your side. He's just saying, oh, I don't give a fuck about the directed energy weapons. I think it's possible that Russia might be attacking a lot of people in embassies. I wouldn't even necessarily disagree with that claim. In fact, if this was presented to me as, hey, here's strong evidence that like Russian soldiers might be actually involved in poisoning a lot of people in embassies, I'd be like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Let me read it. But to me, that's not the interesting claim made by this. I wouldn't even bother, I don't think, reading something about that because it wouldn't surprise me and I don't even know how much I'd care. The interesting thing is a novel technology that allows you to pinpoint people through buildings with directed energy weapons. That's interesting to me.
No, I think the interesting part of the whole situation here is systematic targeting of diplomats, which is something that's never been done before. And yes, the technology is very fucking interesting as well. Obviously, of course. That's like a crazy part of the whole situation.
I mean, if I had to bet, I would bet on the directed energy weapons, but that's just me, right? Like,
I put a
But I don't think it's critical to the story or telling like a very exciting and interesting narrative here, because obviously, if people are just obviously, if people are just falling ill who are investigating Russia or working against Russia in some capacity, you're going to have a problem recruiting people to work against Russia in an intelligence capacity, right?
Yeah, I just want to run down a narrative. So we've got a documentary that pretty much is Charlie's mailroom. We've got travel records to show that Russians have been in the same areas as certain peoples in similar timelines to them feeling sick. Now, there's millions of
all
Russians.
in the same group of 50 Russians.
I'm gonna write it down. You write it down. I'm gonna write it down. You can shut the fuck up. So
yeah, you go ahead, but just get it accurate. You have to be accurate, okay? Yeah. You can't just make shit up.
Sure. What did I say there that's wrong?
Wait, what did you say that was made up?
You said random Russians. You said random Russians.
I didn't say Russians. I said there's millions of random Russians after that. So let me finish. There's billions of Russians probably actually. And you can run narratives from any of them. Right now, the strongest claims we have are there are Russians that are traveling at the same time that these people are getting symptoms. These symptoms are manifesting in entirely different ways than the tests of these energy weapons that we've seen in the past, right? They're long-term chronic issues rather than acute distress. We're also seeing stuff with them using weapons that are completely new and novel in countries that are not their own for pretty low-value stuff when you look in like the grand scale of like what Russia would want to do if they're like fucking with America, right? They're doing hard-scale like fucking with America. I don't think this is how it manifests, and I don't think they do it with their like new cutting-edge tech that no one knows about.
Well, wait, by the way, you mentioned long-term chronic conditions. Particularly out of Cuba, there's actually been speculation that the pesticides being used to combat Zika virus might actually be responsible for some of the symptoms.
Yeah, that's super reasonable. I would not.
You know what? Sorry. For everyone in here, I apologize. I've decided that we all need to leave, and Destiny just needs to read the fucking.
I am reading it. Don't worry, I'm reading it right now.
No. You're not reading when we do it. I want you to.
I am reading.
Read it out loud.
I'm not reading it out loud. I'm reading the article though.
Why?
Because it's easier to read it.
You know what? I'll read it out loud to chat then.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Hold on. Where's the fucking link to this goddamn thing? Jesus fucking Christ. Where is this?
You look handsome, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, we can't watch that. Okay. No, where's the fuck? Send me the article. The one that
you literally sent it to me like 20 times. You get it.
Oh, I sent you the video.
I don't want to send it to you and have the energy weapons coming outside my apartment attacking me, okay?
Well, obviously, they're not going to come for you. They're going to come for me because you're the one on their side. You're the one who's going to get paid. I'm going to be the one that gets fucking... Okay, hold on. What is it? The ins.ru?
I sent you the article too, Dan.
Okay, thank you. God forbid someone actually just makes this easier. All right, guys, get ready for some fucking misspeaks. Steve, you might want to go ahead and pull up some Factorio or something else, because we're going through it. You ready? I'm going to give it a fair shake. We're all going to do it together. Okay. Unraveling Havana Syndrome. I call it Havana because I'm... Anyways. Unraveling Havana Syndrome. New evidence links the GRU's assassination unit 29155 to the mysterious attacks on U.S. officials and their families. A year-long investigation by The Insider, in collaboration with 60 Minutes and, how do you say it, Der Spiegel? I don't know. And Der Spiegel, we're going to call it that. It's probably like Der Spiegel. Anyways, has uncovered evidence suggesting that unexplained anomalous health incidents, also known as Havana Syndrome, may have... I have to cover up the chat. I'm going to fucking kill myself. I already know I'm going to speak. I don't care. Just let it go. Okay. Where were we? Havana Syndrome may have their origin in the use of directed energy weapons wielded by members of Russian GRU Unit 29155. Members of the Kremlin's infamous military intelligence sabotage squad have been placed at the scene of suspected attacks on U.S. overseas government personnel and their family members, leading victims to question what Washington knows about the origins of Havana Syndrome and what an appropriate Western response might entail. Tbilisi. He was tall, certainly taller than Joy's neighbors and the Georgians she'd come to know in 8 months and living in Digomi, an upscale residential community in Tbilisi. He was young and thin and blonde and well-dressed, as if headed to the theater or perhaps a wedding. Minutes earlier, on October 7th, 2021, Joy, an American nurse and the wife of a U.S. Embassy official, had been taking her laundry out of the dryer when she was completely consumed by an acute ringing sound that reminded her of someone in the movies' experiences after a bomb has gone off. It just pierced my ears, came in the left side, felt like it came through the window into my left ear, Joy remembers. I immediately felt fullness in my head and just a piercing headache. She ran out of the laundry room on the second floor of the house and into the bathroom adjoining the master bedroom. Then she vomited. Joy and her husband, Hunter, a Justice Department attaché in the U.S. Embassy in Tbilisi, had only arrived in Georgia in February 2020 in the midst of the COVID-19 lockdown. Despite the all-consuming noise in her head, Joy called Hunter. Both of these names have been changed for this story, by the way. As the spouse of a U.S. official serving abroad, she'd undergone overseas survival training and remembered that if something didn't feel right, the first thing you do is get off the X, leave the location. Joy checked the house. Hold on, I just got a nuke. Can we nuke? You know what? Actually, fuck it. Warning you, after this, Omegalols are getting fucking banned, okay? And not a 10-minute ban. It's going to be all fucking day until Monday. That's how long it's going to be. 6 days. Starting now. I don't want to see any fucking emotes, okay? I'm doing you guys a favor. Shut the fuck up, okay? All right. A black Mercedes crossover. Fuck! A black Mercedes crossover was parked just beyond the gate of her property, directly opposite her laundry room. Joy went outside, and when she saw the tall, thin man, she raised her phone to photograph him. It was like he locked eyes with me. He knew what I was doing. Then he got into the Mercedes and drove off. Joy took a picture of the car and the license plate as it pulled away. She says she didn't see the man again until 3 years later when he was shown in a photograph of Albert Veryanov, a Russian operative attached to Unit 29155, a notorious assassination and sabotage squad of the GRU, Moscow's military intelligence service. Albert is not an ordinary spy. Aged only 23 when this encounter took place, he was the son of the founding commander of Unit 29155. Furthermore, we're going to call it just Unit 2, okay? General Andrei Ayaronov, 56, who is now the powerful deputy director of the GRU, tasked with running the Kremlin's foreign policy in Africa. To the public, he was a fresh graduate of Moscow State University, when he had earned a master's in management of migration processes, a topic in which his father had took a keen interest. Even within the nepotistic GRU, Albert's trajectory was unusually steep, a young cadet who was being groomed for a bright career in espionage. In 2019, only 20, he even interned in Geneva with a residentura of Unit 2, disguising his visit to the international Swiss capital as legions of other Russian intelligence officers have, as an English language learning trip. Such was Andrei's desire to see his son follow in his footsteps that the GRU had to ignore its own rules of recruitment, which mandate officers blend in with their surroundings. As a 6'2" young blonde, Albert was conspicuous in any crowd, let alone a Tony suburb of Tbilisi. What does a Tony suburb mean? You know?
Tiny suburb. It's misspelled.
Tiny? Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely misspelled. It's just tiny.
Anyways, when Joy saw Albert's face 3 years later, she had a visceral reaction. I can absolutely say that this looks like the man I saw in the street. Next subject. Subject 2, paragraph 2. Not paragraph 2, section 2. Non-lethal acoustic weapons. A year-long investigation by The Insider in collaboration with 60 Minutes and Der Spiegel has uncovered evidence suggesting that the unexplained anonymous health incidents, also known as Havana Syndrome, may have their origin in the use of directed energy weapons wielded by members of Unit 2. Among this investigation's core findings is the fact that senior members of the unit received awards and political promotions for work related to the development of non-lethal acoustic weapons, a term used in Russian military scientific literature to describe both sound and radio frequency-based directed energy devices, as both would result in acoustic artifacts in the victim's brain. These and other operatives attached to Unit 2, traveling undercover, have been geolocated to places around the world just before or at the same time of reported anomalous health incidences, or AHIs, as the US government formally refers to Havana Syndrome. Furthermore, Joy is not the only victim to identify a known member of the Russian Black Ops Squad, lurking around her home. The first sighting may have happened exactly 7 years earlier. Contrary to the information that has been made public about Havana Syndrome, that it began in the Cuban capital in 2016, there were likely attacks 2 years earlier in Frankfurt, Germany, when a US government employee stationed at the consulate there was knocked unconscious by something akin to a strong energy beam. The victim was later diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury, just like I have from fucking being on the stream so long, and was able to identify a Geneva-based Unit 2 operative. The incident occurred within months of Russia's 2014 invasion of Ukraine, in which a stealthy, nearly bloodless seizure of the Crimean Peninsula in February and March 2014 gave way to a roiling 8-year-long dirty war in the eastern industrial heartland of Donbas, close to Ukraine's border with Russia. The Insider, 60 Minutes, and Der Spiegel have uncovered documentary evidence that Unit 2 has been experimenting with exactly the kind of weaponized technology experts suggest is a plausible cause for the mysterious medical condition that has to date affected over 100 far-flung US spies and diplomats, as well as several Canadian officials. Many are seasoned subject matters specialists on Russian, fluent in the language. Others have expertise in different fields, such as the Middle East or Latin America, but were assigned after the takeover of Crimea to sensitive US government roles aimed at countermanding Russian aggression and intelligence operations across Europe and North America. Unit 2, moreover, is infamous within the US intelligence community. Their scope is global for conducting lethal operations and acts of sabotage. A former high-ranking CIA officer with subject matter experience and expertise in Russia told The Insider their mission is to find, fix, and finish, all in support of Vladimir Putin's imperial dreams. Originally conceived as a training unit within the GRU, it was reorganized and expanded in 2008 as an operations team devoted to assassination, sabotage, and a political destabilization campaigns across the world. 3 members of this unit, Colonel Alexander Mishkin, Colonel Anatoly Chapiga, and Major General Dennis, were responsible for poisoning British double agent Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia with a military-grade nerve agent Novichok in Salisbury, England in 2018. In 2015, Dennis and other members twice poisoned Bulgarian arms dealer Emily with a similar organophosphate weapon, almost certainly because Emily's company EMCO, was selling ammunition to Georgia and Ukraine, two countries that had recently been at war with Russia. Unit 2 also used Serbian mercenaries to orchestrate a failed coup in Montenegro on the eve of the nation's ascent to NATO in 2016. As the Insider was the first to report, the unit was responsible for a series of explosions at ammunition and weapon depots across Bulgaria and Czechia. Explosions which began in 2011, 2 years after Unit 2 reconstitution as a Black Ops squad, and right in the middle of the Obama administration's reset with Moscow. These operations injured or killed dozens of innocent bystanders. Their exposures have led to the expulsion of 19 Russian diplomats from Sofia and Prague, respectively, as well as indictments by the Bulgarian government of all of Unit 2 saboteurs implicated in bombings in that country. More recently, members of the unit were deployed as an advanced sabotage and kill team in Ukraine in the days ahead of Russia's full-scale invasion of the country in late February 2022. Unlike other teams within Russia's sprawling intelligence apparatus, this one doesn't spy on people, at least not for the sake of gathering information. It is devoted exclusively to so-called kinetic, i.e. violent, military operations. Its predecessor and analog was the Soviet KGB's department devoted to special tasks, which conducted assassinations and acts of terrorism abroad. Its most sinister spade work included killing Ukrainian nationalists in Europe with bombs and cyanide guns, and plunging an ice axe into the skull of exiled revolutionary Leon Trotsky in Mexico in 1940. Havana Syndrome, itself long thought to be a crude biological effect caused by a different kind of unique weapon, encompasses a variation of symptoms including chronic headaches, vertigo, tinnitus, insomnia, nausea, lasting impairment, and in some cases, blindness or hearing loss. Many victims have said they were fine for 1 minute, then stricken with intense pain or pressure in their skull the next, usually localized to one side of their head, as if they were caught in a beam of concentrated energy. A good number have been diagnosed with mild traumatic brain injuries. Others have suffered such severe long-term cognitive and vestibular after effects that they can no longer function on a day-to-day basis and have been medically retired from government service. Joy has suffered from headaches every day for the past 3 years. She has also undergone 2 surgeries for semicircular canal stuff, the appearance of holes in the bony walls that encase her inner ears. She will need a 3rd surgery to address the rapid deterioration of her temporal bone, a condition that she says her neurosurgeon cannot explain. Okay. Havana Syndrome first gained public attention in 2017 in connection with strange ailments affecting more than 20 CIA and State Department officials posted to Cuba in the wake of revivified diplomatic relations between the Obama administration and the government headed by Fidel Castro's brother, Raul. The cases were recorded in Havana between May 2016 and September 2017, when the Trump administration radically reduced the State Department's presence on the Caribbean island and the CIA withdrew all of its personnel from the reopened U.S. embassy there. But few in the intelligence community believed the Cubans were behind the phenomenon. Given Moscow's outsized influence on the communist-run nation, the prevailing theory was that the Russians had carried out the attack as part of an effort to hamper the U.S.-Cuban rapprochement. Well over 100 AHI cases have been cited worldwide, affecting American spies, diplomats, military officers, contractors, and in some instances, their spouses, children, and even pets. Medically confirmed symptoms have been reported as far as Guangzhou, China, and as close to home as Washington, D.C. One victim was a senior official in the Trump-era National Security Council who became temporarily aphasic? I'm not going to do what you do. I don't know, whatever. And whose body went numb right outside the Eisenhower Executive Building in mid-November 2020. Another was CIA Director Bill Burns, then Deputy Chief of Staff, who was hit in Delhi in September 2021, causing Burns to cut short official visits to India and Pakistan. That same year, the Biden administration signed into law the Havana Act, which provides 6-figure compensation for confirmed victims of AHI. There's a reason why the Havana Act only came into force in 2021. For the past 8 years, Havana Syndrome has been the subject of intense controversy. Sociologists have suggested it is little more than a mass psychogenic illness, or perhaps the outbreak of mass hysteria. Such arguments have been undercut by multiple medical studies, including one conducted by an expert panel convened by the U.S. intelligence community. The final assessment of that investigation found that AHIs had a unique combination of core characteristics that cannot be explained by known environmental or medical conditions that could be due to the external stimuli. Nevertheless, in March 2023, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence issued a redacted report that said it was very unlikely that AHIs were caused by a foreign adversary. This assessment has sent shockwaves among the hundreds of former and current intelligence officers and family members who believed that they had suffered significant and often irreversible health consequences at the hands of an enemy force. As a result, many of these victims felt betrayed by their government for neglecting to identify the culprit for their predicament. I'm not joking. I will fucking IP ban all of you. Glue, you're fucking done. I'll see you next week. You're going to be gone on Monday. You too, Prime Mind. Yep, Birdman. See you also. You think I don't fucking take names? I'm taking fucking names. You're going to be gone. You better hope it's a fucking week, because there'll be a goddamn month if you don't fucking stop. Where was I? The Insider and its investigative partners have uncovered new evidence in the form of intercepted Russian intelligence documents, travel logs, and call metadata, along with eyewitness... I can't.
It's a lot, man. I read the whole thing.
I'm still going. Fuck it. We're going to do that, and now I can keep track of them for later. Okay? Where was I? Okay. Along with eyewitness testimony, the totality of which challenges the assessment... Oh my God, it's a Russian calling me. Hold on 1 second. Привет, как дела? No, нет, хорошо. Что такое? No, right now I'm streaming to a bunch of retards who are trying to understand why your country is trying to kill everyone. So I got to go right now, okay? Love you. All right.
Okay, real quick before Dan
bye.
starts again, Nacho Mama is running a fundraiser for her. I think her mother-in-law just passed away. So if you guys want to drop by there, she's collecting funds. Nacho Mama, kick.com/Nacho Mama, I think.
For what?
Just
Fuck
if any
that
of you guys
shit.
are interested.
Donate to the fucking Patreon.com/anything else.
Her mother-in-law just died or some shit, okay?
Oh,
so
I didn't
Nacho
hear that.
Mama, okay?
Oh.
Kick.com/Nacho Mama. If you guys want to go, you should rate her after this Destiny, but
Can I? You're reading ahead? You're in a head reader? You better be fucking with me right now. You're in a head reading again in front of me. How could you do that?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm reading this and just marking dumb shit. I hope this gets better. I'm about 60% of the way. This is the dumbest shit I've ever read in my entire fucking life. But maybe it gets really good at the end.
I'm not reading anymore. You don't deserve me. That's it.
All right.
You're a bad person.
I don't even know if I believe in some of the claims here. I wish they'd publish more. Maybe it's here. People are being diagnosed with like traumatic brain injuries, and there's no details on any of this. Nothing. We don't have any more information about that. There's traumatic brain injuries, and we're not getting any more information. Based.
For me personally, I said when I went to start reading this that there's a lot there where I'm granting charity to these like 3 organizations who are reporting on this as a group, and that I'm assuming they cross-checked each other and made sure they got details like that correctly. If they
Yeah, but why not give us more? What do you mean? What kind of traumatic brain injury?
I don't know.
Okay, well, wouldn't that be kind of important if we're establishing a fact pattern of like certain neurological issues caused by whatever the fuck this Havana Syndrome is?
Yeah, it seems quite important. I don't even know. I'm not totally sure what exact symptoms basically correspond to something they consider Havana Syndrome. Seems like a very broad constellation of symptoms that could come from a multitude of sources. So it's a little confusing. Sorry, I just turned my music on super loud while I was talking there.
Both microwave and ultrasound energy can damage cells in the brain as well as open the blood-brain barrier, causing proteins. Where am I? From a range, or is this like an ultra pinpointed, ultra specific? Oh my god, I can't believe I wasted my time reading this dog shit fucking article. Even the investigative part on Russians traveling was a waste of fucking time. What a god awful piece of fucking horrendous journalism. Fucking kill me. Oh my God. This spans 20 different years of potential things with random people being evac'd from places and all over the fucking world. Oh my God. It's all good.
You're only making it harder for yourself when the ray gun gets revealed.
Okay.
Man, you're gonna have egg on your face. There's no, it's my understanding, and that statement right there, that was this is a shit article and they're wrong.
Oh, I'm sorry, hold on. My bad. I jumped the gun. And yet it remains unclear exactly how the attacks were carried out or whether multiple types of devices have been used. The limiting factor with ultrasound weapons is distance. Their sound waves travel poorly through air and solid objects found in buildings, meaning any device of this type would have to get up close to its target, no more than 10 or 12 meters away. Okay, so they at least include that like the technologies they're positing are, as of right now, thought to be impossible, but okay.
Okay, so you just said the whole traveling thing, the whole like main thrust of the article is probably not true or not useful.
It's just
you want to
uninteresting.
that this will be that these attacks will be attributed to Russia in the next, let's say, 2 years.
All of them listed in here, or the majority of them?
That this is a consistent pattern. At least let's say the 8 that the investigator found this group moving towards.
Sure, we can bet $100 on it if you want.
Sounds good. Book it.
Well, the good news is that you're in good company with people who also think it's bullshit. You got Glenn Greenwald. You like that guy, right? Finkel? He also says it's bullshit. Who else says it's bullshit?
Mike Cernovich, definitely complete bullshit.
Mike Cernovich? Add Destiny to the list. That's it. We're ascending. We are coming to the side. Tim Pool? Also?
Yeah. All everybody Tim Pool had on his show last night was like, this is just an op to try to get us to go to war with Russia. This is the government trying to convince us we should go to war with Russia.
Except that doesn't make any sense because the government isn't the one that's publishing this. The government has denied this over and over again, and it's other publications.
It's incredibly retarded. Yeah, it was incredibly retarded.
Not good.
Oh, I'm sorry, 30 years. We're going back to the Gulf War. Whew, my God. Oh, never mind. It's for a different thing. Okay. Wow. All right. Well, been fun. I appreciate it. Thank you for my brain has been expanded like crazy.
If you're getting off, can you raid Nacho Mama on Kick?
I'll think about it.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go to my Discord.
Love
See
you
you guys
careful.
later. Bye.
Oh, I'm not going anywhere. What do you want to talk about?
Well,
I want to also learn if this is possible. It's time to learn.
Time to learn. I mean, it's possible that people are being poisoned in places. I would believe that. I don't think that the directed energy weapon technology, my understanding of physics right now means that it's not possible.
Yeah, my understanding also says that it's not possible. But, could be. They are very crafty.